Hello, so today I'm going to talk about what I packed for my Peru / Salkantay trek trip. My name is Diane and welcome to my channel. So first are the bags. Now we knew from the very beginning when we were just planning the trip that we wanted to have backpacks rather than luggages. Our plan consisted of moving from city to city to city, so lugging around this big piece of suitcase with wheels wasn't really part of that plan. Now having a backpack means packing as light as possible, only the essentials. And it also meant buying a new backpack for myself because I have never gone backpacking before. Suray has several years ago when he went backpacking solo, so he didn't need to buy his own. So a tip about getting a backpack is not to cheap out on it at all. Like, you want something that is very good quality, very ergonomic, because you are going to be wearing that backpack for your entire trip. And for myself, I got the Osprey Farpoint 55 backpack. Now what I really like about this backpack is that it comes in two pieces. You can separate it from the main backpack where you put your clothing and every main stuff that you have, and then you can actually detach your day pack from it, which will come really handy when you go to the Salkantay trek. Now about the Salkantay trek. One of the pros of doing it with a hiking company is that you don't actually carry your luggage. You'll have a duffel bag that the company will provide. You'll pack everything you can in there. The limit was 6 to 7 kilograms, and those bags will be on mules or horses that will take it up the mountain or take it to each camp. And what you're gonna bring with you is the day pack. We had never camped or hiked for multiple days before, so we didn't really know what to expect. So here's what we packed. First and foremost, we got packing cubes. When you have everything organized, it's so much easier to pack and unpack. Now what did we actually pack? First, our hiking boots. Especially if you're doing the Salkantay trek, the trek will be so much easier if you have the right tools. And having a great pair of hiking boots with enough support for your ankles, get good hiking boots for sure. I would also recommend getting some light, very comfortable walking shoes. I've got these Nike Roshis that I've had for like 5-7 years now, and they're the lightest, most comfortable walking shoes I've had. And also bring sandals. So you want to make sure that you want to give your feet a chance to relax when you're walking around the hostel or when you're walking around the camp. Give your feet some room to breathe. Now next is a packable jacket. My mom was kind enough to let me borrow her jacket, which is a packable down jacket from Lululemon. I'm very grateful for that because I really didn't think that it was going to be that cold. Suray actually bought his at Uniqlo. We heard from a friend that their down packable jackets are really good quality and they're very warm, so he actually got that for his birthday. Next are base layers. Now, I would really recommend taking at least several pieces of lightweight base layers. When you're hiking the Salkantay trek, the climate and the weather will change so quickly. You don't want something heavy like a parka. You'll want several layers that you can take off and put on according to the weather. Next, obviously, bring a few shirts. Bring really comfortable shirts. Bring one pair of shorts. When you get to the third day of the Salkantay trek, around noon, that's when it's gonna be really warm. It's gonna reach at least 30 degrees in the jungle. So having shorts and not just pants is gonna be really good. Obviously, bring underwear. We decided to bring at least 1 week's worth of underwear and 1 week's worth of socks. We knew that we could do laundry there. When it's due, you just pay someone. It's very easy and it's actually very cheap. You just give someone your bag of clothes, then they'll let you know how much hours it's gonna take. You leave it to them and then you pick it up. It's very easy. All right, gloves. I would say gloves are also a must. Like I said, at the Salkantay Pass, or at least on the way to the Salkantay Pass, it's really cold. So you want to make sure that you bring gloves. Your fingers gonna be uncomfortable if you don't. Next is hat or hats. I would really recommend to bring a toque or a beanie, just so during those really cold days, but also bring a sun hat if you can. Something that Saroy bought while we were in Arequipa, which is the city before Cusco, is this sun hat. It looks so dorky, but it came really handy. So it's, you know, one of those hats where it's really for hiking, you know. It has a little flap here, and then it extends all the way down to the back of your neck, so you're not burning the back of your neck. Like I said, it doesn't look great, to be honest. It's not the most fashionable thing, but it's really, really useful. Now, talking about the sun, the higher you go in altitude, the higher the UV levels are going to be. From what I saw online, I think it gets around 12. That's the level of UV. I'm not very familiar with it, but for example, if you're from Toronto, we can get as high as 9 in the summer. Definitely bring sunscreen. This is something that I really slacked on. I was in Ica, which is the desert city. After Ica, my face was burnt. Now, it wasn't that bad, it was sensitive. Obviously, I didn't learn. Again, I didn't put enough while we were in Cusco and when we were doing the Salkantay trek that I actually developed sun blisters around my lip. If you've seen my Lima video, you would have noticed that there's something wrong with my lips. That's why. If you can, I cannot stress this enough, bring really good quality sunscreen. It gets really intense, and the thing is, when you're hiking the trek, you're not paying attention to how your skin is doing. I certainly wasn't, because I was just worried about not being sick and not throwing up, because elevation sickness really got to me. Like I said, because I had sun blisters around my lips, if you can get any kind of lip balm with SPF, highly recommend it. Within the weather topic, bring a rain poncho. I thought it was something that I could just buy cheaply in Peru, and that's exactly what I did. The weather in the mountains is very finicky. It could change like that, and you don't want to be wet and don't want to get sick during the trek. Now, next are bug spray. Another thing that you don't want to cheap out on. We did, to be honest, and when we were seeing the prices, when we go to, I believe it's Parma, I'll put a picture somewhere here. It was really expensive for some reason. So then I went to like a kind of a mom and pop pharmacy, found this bug lotion that seemed good, but that was it. It was a lotion. It's something that you squeeze on your hand and you like rub on yourself. If you can, get a spray. Because the thing is, you want to make sure that it's something that you can spray on your clothes as well. Because these bugs is really going to bite you through your clothes, especially if they're thin. Now, keep in mind, I'm saying bugs because they're not mosquitoes. They look like little tiny flies and they look really harmless. If you had seen the legs and the arms of the people that we were with, they looked like they were eaten alive. It was crazy. Anyway, bring bug spray. Don't forget that. That's really necessary. Another thing that's really necessary, toilet paper. It sucks, but when you're on the Salkantay trek, there are toilets or washrooms that you can pay 1 sol to get into. These washrooms will not have toilet paper. They do have water. Sometimes they don't flush. Sometimes they don't have seats and it's kind of gross. I'm just thankful that they exist. The thing is, they don't have toilet paper. You will have to bring your own. Not only toilet paper, if you prefer wet wipes, please bring wet wipes. Bring 2 packs of wet wipes. It will just make you feel just a little bit cleaner. When you're hiking minimum 3 hours a day and you're not showering for every single one of them. Another thing that we brought is a headlamp. Saroy had one. It really does come in handy, especially when you're in the camp and you want to use the washroom or you just want to brush your teeth for the night. It really does come in handy. So if you have one, bring it. Next are swimsuits. Now, it's optional. You can go to the hot springs. I believe we paid close to 50 soles per person for the ride there and back and the entrance to the hot springs. So definitely bring swimsuits. Other than the hot springs in Peru, there's just many situations when you might want to take a dip somewhere. Now, next is a microfiber towel. Microfiber towels really came in handy. I didn't even know they existed before this trip. They really pack into a small size and it dries really quickly, but definitely bring those, especially if you're staying at hostels. Next is a power bank. As you know, going through the Salkantay trek, most of the time you're not gonna have power, and I feel like anywhere, just bring a power bank because you don't want to be stuck somewhere with a dead phone and you don't know how to speak the language. Next is bring snacks. When you're doing the Salkantay trek, it's very important that you bring snacks because food is really gonna give you that energy when, again, elevation sickness is gonna kick your butt. I would really recommend buying snacks before your trek because once you get into the mountains, there are stores, they're just much more expensive. And lastly, bring lots of cash. That sounds like it's a scam. During the trek, there are several optional activities that you can opt into. One of them is taking a mule or a horse or a donkey up the Salkantay Pass. I opted for that option because, like I said, elevation sickness really kicked my butt. I was very sick. I could not handle the elevation, so paying 120 soles to not hike up the 6 hours going to the highest elevation of the trip was so much worth it. And I think 120 soles is about $50, something like that. Very worth it for me personally anyway. Another thing that they would probably ask you if you go with Machu Picchu reservations is ziplining. Ziplining is not included in the package that you will pay for. It's also 120 soles. Absolutely worth it. It was my first time going ziplining, and if you've watched that video, you know what happened. It was very exciting. I'm not afraid of heights, but it was amazing going through the Santa Teresa Valley through zipline and just enjoying nature. It was really worth it. And lastly, like I said, the hot springs, that was 50 soles. You're also gonna want to buy Gatorade along the way or some snacks or something, like I said, for energy. And also another thing is, if you're someone who loves a drink, there are camps who offer beer right after the trek. If that's something that you want to do, there is kind of like a party culture when you're doing the Salkantay trek, especially the later days. If you're interested in that, maybe bring a little bit more cash. And lastly, hand sanitizer. There's not going to be many chances, to be honest, where you can wash your hands with soap. So hand sanitizer is definitely going to be something that you want to bring. Now there are some items that I wish I brought. First is general medication. I was very lucky that I went with, well, now friends who were very much prepared. One of them was a nurse who just brought every over-the-counter medication that you could imagine. Pain reliever will be your friend. Another thing is the high elevation medication. I didn't take it. I know it exists because other people in the group were taking it. What we did to prepare is to take this supplement beforehand and ongoing throughout our whole trip, so it can help us with the sickness. I'm not sure if it worked so much, to be honest. Now, this is my first time ever going higher than 2,000 meters in elevation, so I can't really tell. I still got sick. Another thing that I wish I brought is a camel pack or hydration bladder. As a beginner hiker, I found that because we had just regular bottles, taking the bottle out of your bag, taking a drink, closing, and continuing, it just takes way too much energy, especially again if you're really tired and if you're already feeling nauseous and have a headache. Then like having a hose and just like doing that. So if you have it, take it. Another thing are trekking pants, or there's these convertible looking pants shorts situation that a lot of the people that we were hiking with brought. Being able to change or just like zip it into pants or shorts when the weather changes, very handy. I wish I brought one, and I'm definitely gonna buy some before my next big hike. That was everything that I packed and I wish I packed. If you have any questions about what to bring for your Salkantay trek or your Peru trip, Definitely let me know in the comments below. If you like this video, please give me a thumbs up and possibly subscribe. There are gonna be more travel videos coming, and next one up I'm gonna talk about what my tips are if you are planning to do the Salkantay trek or if you're planning to do your Peru trip. Okay, so I appreciate you being here, and I'll see you on the next one. Bye. When you're staying